how's it going? At the beginning of this year, well, at the beginning of the NHL season at least, I made some predictions about who would make the playoffs and who would win the Stanley Cup. So let's take a quick look back at my predictions. You can go ahead and check the video out if you want, but it's really not necessary. I'm going to say everybody that I picked. I have it written down right here. And in the West, and actually, you know what? Let me go to the playoff tree as I'm saying this. In the West, I had Anaheim against San Jose, Calgary against LA, Chicago against Nashville, and Dallas against Minnesota. Okay, I got one of the matchups right. For the most part, it was off just a little bit. But in the West, I was 7 for 8 in playoff teams. The only team I got wrong was St. Louis. I had Calgary making the playoffs. I thought they would with the addition of Dougie Hamilton. I thought they'd improve on last year. And I thought St. Louis would just struggle this year. Why? I don't know. I was just kind of guessing, and I think I guessed fairly well. 7 for 8 in the West. Now, in the East, I had Tampa Bay against the Rangers, Detroit against Montreal, Pittsburgh against the Islanders, and Washington against Columbus. Now, it was a little worse in the East. I went 6 for 8, but, you know, it's still really not that bad. 6 for 8 is still really good. All in total, I had 13 of 16 playoff teams. I think that's an absolute successful year. Now, I did predict the Pittsburgh Penguins to win the President's Trophy. All the hype that they had starting the year with Phil Kessel coming to the team. And anyway, I was kind of agreeing with that. And I said they win the President's Trophy, and I was wrong. Washington won it. They were the best team in the NHL. So you know what? I feel like my predictions weren't terrible, but how I had my predictions for the Stanley Cup is I had Detroit over the Dallas Stars in 6 games. We'll see how that plays out. I have the playoff mode set up with all the playoff teams as you see here. So let's go ahead and can I simulate? Oh, no. Okay. I guess Dallas beat Minnesota. That's not how I want to do every single game, though. I want to... Oh, God. How do I do this? I want to just simulate through the entire playoffs. Can I not do that? Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll see you guys in a second. I'm going to go ahead and simulate through all the games, and we can see who NHL 16 says is going to win. Alright, so I got through the first round, and we had 5 of the 8 series go to 7 games. So, obviously, the teams are very closely matched. As you see, 3 of the 4 did in the West there. The only team that didn't go to 7 was Anaheim, who actually just won in 6. So, and then the East, we had Pittsburgh, who swept the Rangers. I think that was really surprising. And then Tampa Bay was the only other series that didn't go to 7. They beat Detroit in 6. So, the second round matchups are Chicago against Minnesota and Anaheim against the San Jose Sharks. And in the East, you got Tampa Bay against the Islanders and Pittsburgh Penguins against the Philadelphia Flyers. So that's going to be a good matchup. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and simulate through the second round. I'll see you in a... Alright, so we're here in the third round. Let's take a look at the playoff tree. And I was actually really surprised by this. None of the series went to 7 games. As hard fought as the first round was across the entire league, the second round, not as much. Chicago beat Minnesota in 5, excuse me. San Jose beat Anaheim in 6. Tampa Bay swept the Islanders, and Philly also swept the Penguins. So you got the Chicago Blackhawks going up against the San Jose Sharks in the West, and in the East, you got the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Philadelphia Flyers. Chicago and Tampa also were in the finals last year, so who knows how this is going to go in this little simulation. Alright, the finals matchup is set. The Chicago Blackhawks will be taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning for the second year in a row. Chicago beat San Jose in 6, and Tampa Bay beat the Philadelphia Flyers in 5. I think this is going to be an amazing playoff. I think this year is going to be amazing for the playoffs. There's so many good teams. I mean, Anaheim, they've been so hot the last, second half of the season. Washington's just been a great team. Pittsburgh has so many talented players, and they really started connecting towards the end of the year. And they really stepped it up and were able to move into like second place in the division. You got the New York Rangers. They added Eric Stahl to the team. Yes, they have a couple injuries, but I think they'll still be a very good team. And I know they still have Stamkos in this game. That's part of the reason why I think they made the finals here. You got Detroit, possibly Datsuk's last year. Chicago, the reigning Stanley Cup champions. They added Andrew Ladd back to their team. They have an amazing team. I mean, these playoffs are going to be amazing. And before I get into the finals here, and I won't actually cut it here, I want to say who I predict to win the Stanley Cup. After my predictions at the start of the year, which I just said a little bit earlier, I had Detroit winning in 6. And now I would love to, for Detroit to win, but they have not met my expectations for how good I thought they would be this year. So I actually have them losing in the second round. But anyway, I just want to say who I think will win the Cup. I think it will be the Washington Capitals over the Anaheim Ducks in 6 games. The reason why I say that is because the Washington Capitals just have been a great team this year. I mean, they have to take the Flyers on the first round, who actually had a really good end of the season. And then if they win that, they have to take on the winner of Pittsburgh or the Rangers. So, I mean, they had a tough time trying to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And it's not like it's going to be a pushover for any other team. I just think that they are so good this year. And Anaheim has been hot. I think they're going to ride that hot streak into the playoffs. And I think they're going to keep performing on a high level. Maybe take Chicago to 7 games in the Western Conference Finals. But I think it's going to be Anaheim against Washington. And like I said, I think Washington will win in 6 games. So let's see who will win in NHL 16 with the rematch between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Chicago takes Game 1. Game 2, who's going to take that? And it looks like Tampa Bay ties it up. I think this would be an amazing series, watching these two teams going at each other again. Even after what they had last year, it was amazing. It looks like it's actually tied up 2-2 now. Last year, I thought that series was amazing. Tampa Bay takes a 3-2 lead. I thought it was absolutely amazing. I watched every single game, every second of it. Chicago actually ties it up 3-3, so we're going to a Game 7. I'll actually slow sim it for this first part, or for this final game. So here we go. First period, come on. First period, there we go. All right, second period. All right, Tampa Bay is up 2-0. We're going to go ahead and slow sim the third period there. Like I said, I think a rematch between Chicago and Tampa Bay would be amazing. If Tampa Bay can make it to the finals, Steven Stamkos may be able to come back and play for them then. And he would be absolutely playing his heart out because he'd be fresh. And I think... I don't know. I just really think these playoffs are going to be amazing. And I really cannot wait for them to start, honestly. So I'm going to intervene here real quick. And I'm going to join the Tampa Bay Lightning as they celebrate their Stanley Cup win here in NHL 16. Now, like as I was saying, I think this year is going to be amazing. There are several stories around the league. And I think the Dallas Stars are the dark horse of the playoffs. I think they have such a good offense. They're a high-powered offense. Defense, not so much. But it'll be interesting to see what they do when they get on the big stage. So, I mean, like I said, lots of things can happen in these playoffs. Anything can happen. It's the Cup, honestly. I really cannot wait for it to start tomorrow night. And if you guys aren't watching, watch. If you guys don't have a team, if your team is not in the playoffs, pick a team, root for them, just stick with them the entire way. I know Detroit fans are really happy with Ottawa after they defeated the Boston Bruins, help them get to the playoffs. And even on Reddit, Ottawa fans have been like, you know what, yeah, I'll root for the Wings. Alfie played for you guys. So there's already like relationships starting there between Ottawa fans and Wings fans. So if you're an Ottawa fan, you're probably going to be rooting for the Wings. I don't know, for the rest of you. If your team isn't in the playoffs, let me know down below who you're going to be rooting for. if you're going to be rooting for the Tampa Bay Lightning here, if you're going to be rooting for the Chicago Blackhawks, if you're going to be rooting for Alexander Ovechkin to win his first Stanley Cup, just let me know. These playoffs are going to be amazing. I cannot wait for them to start. Thank you for watching. Leave down below who you're going to be rooting for, and I'll see you next time.